Hello, and welcome to another edition of Interviewing the Legends, brought to you by the Publicity Works Agency, devoted to promoting musicians and authors worldwide. Call us today at 941-877-1552 to start your free publicity evaluation. Remember, we shine only when we make you shine. Please welcome the host of Interviewing the Legends, music journalist, author, and entrepreneur, Ray Shasho.
Hello once again, everyone. I'm your host, Ray Shasho, and welcome to another edition of Interviewing the Legends on BBS Radio, brought to you by the Publicity Works Agency. Call us today at 941-877-1552 or email us at publicityworksagency.com. Remember, we shine only when we make you shine. Singer, guitarist, writer, producer, and leader of the band April Wine, Myles Goodwyn's passion and drive shaped and directed the group from its earliest beginnings. He is the only remaining original member of the group since the inception of April Wine in 1969. Goodwyn grew up poor and is the classic small-town kid makes good success story. As a young teen, Goodwyn honed his skills playing in bands such as Eastgate Sanctuary and Woody's Termites. From the very beginning, Goodwyn plotted the course of the band. His unique but classic rock voice gives April Wine a distinct and immediate recognizable sound, ranging from hard rock classics to soulful ballads. His vocal range and style can really grab a hold of you. His songwriting skills are prolific. He has penned virtually every April Wine song. He has a knack with words and seems to have an ability to write a catchy tune at will. Through the ups and downs and changing faces of the band, the one thing that has remained constant is Myles Goodwyn. Even today, with their latest release and shift in direction, his voice is as strong and apparent as ever. Now in its fourth decade, April Wine continues to charge ahead as one of Canada's very best rock bands. And as far as rock history goes, Myles Goodwyn is already a living legend, especially in the annals of Canadian rock history, being known as one of the all-time greats. In Just Between You and Me, Goodwyn shares the story of his upbringing, first at home in rural New Brunswick, and then in the music business as the lead singer of one of Canada's most popular bands ever, April Wine. Myles Goodwyn's leader of April Wine has shaped and directed the group from its earliest beginnings. April Wine has sold over 20 million recordings worldwide. Myles Goodwyn and Friends of the Blues, the follow-up to his Juno-nominated and East Coast Music Award-winning blues debut, is set for release on October 25th via Linus Entertainment. Friends of the Blues 2 has 13 original songs written by Goodwyn and a cover of All Over Now by Bobby Womack. Please welcome singer, guitarist, songwriter, producer, author, and leader of Canadian rock legends April Wine, Myles Goodwyn. Hello, Myles.
Hi, Ray. That was something else, wasn't it?
Well, I could go on and on if you'd like me to.
Who wrote that, I wonder? Well, thank you very, very much, Ray, and it's nice to be talking with you.
Well, you've done a lot in your career, man, and we're all proud of you.
Well, you know, it seems like a lot when you bunch it all together in a few minutes, but it just has time has a way of going by, doesn't it? So it's a lot, yeah, but it's been good.
Yeah, it's a shame that time goes by so quickly, you know, and it's hard for me seeing all my heroes get old, you know, but as long as they're still trucking, that's the main thing.
Yeah, you know, we're at that time now, some of us anyway, where we, you know, people that we know and love and respect and friends with and so forth are no longer with us, right? That list just keeps getting
I know.
longer for some of us as time goes on. But, you know, here we are, we're both healthy and knock on wood, right?
Exactly.
We're good.
The Canadian rock scene has been incredible. I mean, so many great rock bands. I'm actually friends with Frank Marino. I talk with him every once in a while. He's a great guy over in Toronto. And
Frank is a great guy. I've known Frank a very, very long time. We met for the first time back in the 70s. When he had his band Mahogany Rush.
Right.
And we've known each other ever since. Matter of fact, we were talking about the blues projects that I've been working on. He played on the first Myles Goodwyn and Friends of the Blues that came out last year. He played on 2 tracks.
He did.
On that CD, on that album. So, and Frank is wonderful to talk to. Every now and then we have a bit of a chin wag, and it's always a good time talking with Frank. He's an extraordinary guy.
Oh, he's very, very intelligent, especially when it comes to religion.
I don't talk about religion or politics ever. So, but he is intelligent. He is, yes.
Well, the good thing about it, he studies every religion. So he's kind of a scholar when it comes to that.
You know what? Honestly, Ray, we've never talked about religion ever. It's always about music and other things.
Well, we've kind of brought it up because he's half Italian and half Syrian, and so am I. So we had a lot in common there.
Good. That's a nice combo.
It's a nice combo, huh? I just want to remind everybody about the hits that April Wine has had over the years. One of my favorites, and probably everybody's, is I Like to Rock. Roller, Just Between You and Me, Sign of the Gypsy Queen, which you do an incredible version acoustically. I've really, really, really liked your version there.
Thank you.
Yeah. Before the Dawn, Say Hello, You Could Have Been a Lady. I mean, there's so many great tunes that you guys did throughout the years. What's next for April Wine? I know you got the 2 blues albums out. The one coming out in October. You got your band together. What's going on with April Wine?
Well, April Wine is just touring. This is our 50th anniversary.
Congratulations.
And so what we do is what we've always done pretty much is tour. We haven't done any recording lately, and that may change over the winter time. I know there's talk now about why don't we record over the winter and release something new for the fans in the summer of 2020. We'll see how that goes. But we just continue to tour, and we tour during the summer months, and we usually do about 30 shows or so. I kind of put a cap on it because I have the blues thing that takes up some of my time, and then I have an acoustic trio called, the show is called Just Between You and Me Live, and that's April Wine songs done acoustically with stories and conversation, up close and personal, all that kind of thing, with Jim Henman, who's an original member of April Wine, myself, and another gentleman named Bruce Dixon. So I'm quite busy, so I had to say to April Wine, I can't be on the road with April Wine all the time. I've been tethered to that band and that name most of my adult life, and although I enjoy it, I do have other things to say as well. So,
well, you got a lot going. You got a lot going if you got those 3 things to tour. I mean that's incredible. It's hard to figure which one is going where.
Well, that's it. I have to be very careful of my calendars and make sure that I'm available where I'm supposed to be at the time I'm supposed to be with the people I'm supposed to be with. And but it seems to be working out just fine.
Well, I think April, would you consider kind of a world tour, or are you past that nowadays?
Past that, we get some invitations to go over to Europe, and that I don't want to do that anymore. It's too far, and there's a bunch of reasons, but if it was a tour that went on for a month or something like that, weeks, maybe.
Right.
But the offers that we get is go over, do festivals, and come home, go back to another festival, come home, and back and forth, and that's a long way to go for 90 minutes. So I'm really not up to it anymore. And we used to do it,
yes, you did.
and I enjoyed it. But it's different now. The world is different now. Travel is different now.
Yeah.
There's safety issues and all kinds of things to be considered. And if I was a young band and I needed all that, then I would be doing it. But at this point in my life, I don't feel it's necessary.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I get tired just watching you guys tour. It's like
well, the touring is. If I ever stop doing this, it'll be for the travel. That's the hardest thing is the travel. I love the music. I can't stop that. addiction, and I'm just going along with it all. But the travel is brutal. You know, we were just down in Chicago and doing a show there, and you know, we came out of Montreal through the security and the customs and everything. You get inside, you're waiting, you're there early, and right before an hour before your flight, everything's canceled.
Oh man!
Yeah. It's like everybody go home.
Yeah.
Go back out through security, go through customs, go home and come back when the sun comes up, see if we can get you on another flight. I mean, it's kind of stress.
It is stressful.
It's like, oh my dear, why am I doing this at my age? But anyway, and then you do it, and the gig was awesome, and the coming back was no problem. And then you kind of forget about it. You go, oh well.
Yep. I'll do it again.
You know, that was worth it, I guess.
Yeah. And you're still, you guys are still huge in Canada. Another guy that always mentions you is Burton Cummings. He always mentions April Wine and you guys. You know, he's
a good friend. Burton,
big fan of the band. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I ran into Burton. Well, I keep running into him. I've known Burton for decades, but. In my book, Just Between You and Me, my memoir, there are 2 pages of 24 blurbs from various musicians and other people saying really nice things about me and my music and April Wine and everything, and he's one of them. Mm-hmm. And anyway, so I was talking to him in an airport just about a year ago, and he knew about the success of Myles Goodwyn Friends of the Blues won top 40 in the U.S. for over a year, and the East Coast Music Award win, and the nominations, Junos, and everything else. He said, "Geez, you're still making records." I go, "Yeah, Burton, that's what I do." I hadn't in a long time. I took, there was reasons for that, but I didn't. I came back, and this was my first attempt at blues, and it went over like gangbusters, I guess you could say. It went well, anyway. And then he quoted me about a month later in a magazine in an interview saying, "I got to make another record." Myles Goodwyn has inspired me to go back into the studio.
That's cool.
And coming from Burton, I mean, this guy should never stop singing and playing and writing because he's such a great talent. So I'm just waiting to hear about him releasing something new, I hope.
Yeah, he's due, and Randy Bachman's still around doing a lot of stuff. He did a blues.
Oh, yeah, Randy's always busy, yeah.
He did a blues album, too,
He did. It was called Heavy Blues, yeah.
Right. Have you ever jammed with Randy?
No, I never have, no.
You got to get him on one of your albums.
I've known him a long time, but I've never jammed with him, no.
Yeah, you have to get him on one of your albums.
I'm already working on a couple of other projects, and one of them is Friends 3.
Good.
And it's going to be a very different concept. It's going to be more rock blues with a lot of rock guys. Right. And he would be on that list along with Frank Marino and others.
Awesome. That'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Maybe some the guy from Rush as well. Who knows? He's not doing anything now.
Who's that?
The guy from Rush, the guitar player.
Oh, Alex.
Yeah, Alex. Right.
Yeah, Alex, the guitar player. Yeah, Lyson. Yeah, he'd probably do it. Yeah, he wrote a really nice blurb in the front of my memoir, Just Between You and Me.
Yeah.
He said some wonderful things about me and my music and everything. Yeah. You know what? I would imagine that could probably happen.
Oh yeah.
If I asked him, he's a real gentleman and a great player, of course. And then his dear friend Gil Moore, a drummer for Triumph. Just people like that. Yep. It'd be fun to get them, and there's many more names. It'd be fun to get them involved in something like this.
Now is blues one of your pet peeves, something that you've always loved, and you finally went to the studio and made a record, or?
Well, kind of like that. I mean, I was never a big blues fan and collector and historian and all the rest of it. I just, like this fellow says, I know what I like,
Right.
So I'm a songman. I consider myself to be a songman, and I like blues that had great songs. I'm not much for, singing a couple of lines and soloing for 4.5 minutes. That was never my thing. And there are great guitar players and other musicians that play other instruments that are great at soloing, virtuosos, and they don't have much of a vehicle for their songs. They just kind of spit out some words and a kind of a generic kind of a thing, and without a lot of thought, and then they play beautifully. Mm-hmm. I like the artists that did both. Like Taj Mahal is the guy I always think of, a man who could sing, play, write, do it all consistently for decades, and I got turned on to him in '68, and I would say more than anybody, he was a big influence for me. He and Muddy Waters and B.B. King. Some of these artists had great songs, and that's what attracted me to that part of the blues. A great blues song. And when I was younger, of course, I grew up in R&B was all Motown was all over the radio.
Right.
You know, the Smokey Robinson to the list is for Marvin Gaye and on and on and on. So I get that side of the coin, if you will. There's a shade of blues in there that kind of bedfellows in a way, and all of that and other things, early country blues too. It all kind of comes together in your life, these influences. You can't kind of help it, so that's what I decided to do with Friends One, is just write some blues songs, try and find my blues voice, which I did, and then invite blues guys that really play this stuff well, and that's the concept. So we just finished Blues 2 with all kinds of great guests, and sounds real good.
Well, you're a great guitar player. You really are. You've always had a great voice. And your blues playing is great. It's wonderful. The lyrics have substance. It's not, I'm down and I got the blues and that's it. You got lyrics to it. You got it's
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. And
yeah.
And I don't agonize, but I really work hard on the lyrics, and I don't want to throw any away.
Right.
And I think that's the difference between a great song and just, some words. A song. I mean, Tin Pan Alley, the whole concept of Tin Pan Alley
right.
way back in the days is when I was a little guy, they would say, send us your poems, send us your poems. Well, those guys weren't interested in music.
Yeah.
Those guys, and then I'm talking America, these song hustlers, they were only interested in the words, and somebody saying something that no one else has said, a phrase, something. So all they wanted was poetry, really.
Right.
And they never said, oh, send us your music. Huh, no, never. They get so many musicians. That's not the problem. They're looking for somebody saying something unique. So I learned even at an early age that the music, a great song is only part music. There's the other part that's even more important. And when you get great lyrics with great music, it's a classic. And that's why they're so popular and covered by other artists. They're just beautiful, in every way. And that's what you strive for as a songwriter, just great lyrics with a great melody.
Well, Friends of the Blues 1, I gave that 5 stars, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to give the 2 the same thing. I've only been able to catch maybe 1 or 2 tracks from the new album, because it's not out yet. And
it's coming out on October 25th everywhere.
Right.
But you might be able to get a hold of Linus, the label, and ask them for some kind of advance copy. I'll pass the message along as well if you'd like. But I've read a couple of reviews. The reviews are just starting to come out now.
Wow.
Some people are getting a hold of a copy at this point, and so far the reviews are excellent, and people are even saying that I kind of outdid the first one even. So that to me is like, geez, to follow up. It's so hard to follow up in a great way, isn't it? I mean, you spent so much time doing the first one and a little bit of time on the second one, and I was worried I was going to let people down, but I feel really good about it, and people that have heard it feel very good about it. So, knock on wood again. There we go, and I hope people like it.
One track, I hate to see you go, but I love to watch you walk away. I love that.
Thank you.
I like the video.
That is Sean Varro, and Sean from, I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's a great Canadian guitar player. Wide Mouth Mason is his band, and he's good. He can sing and play like nobody's business. So it was nice for him to be part of that particular song, and that's what I like about the blues. Ray, I like humor in the blues, and so Hail Death was part. There are a couple of humorous songs on the new record. One's called Fish Tank Blues. Another one is called When Your Train Came In. I was at the airport drinking, and there's a lot of examples of humor in the blues, and I like all of that kind of stuff too. And there was a lot of dark humor in the blues. I'm going to get a shotgun, shoot my old lady, and stuff like that. I'm hoping that was humorous. Hopefully they didn't really mean it. But there are many examples where humor is in the blues, and I like that. And so I try and have at least one song or something with a bit of make you smile when you're listening to it.
Exactly. And the video's cool for that song too. It's got the puppets.
Yes. Well, that was funny. There wasn't much much of a budget on that one, and anyway, I won't get into it, but it was really fun.
Yeah.
You know, saying, "Oh, I can do this for that much money. Let's just have some fun." We bought Barbie dolls on Catchy.
That was funny.
I got 17 for $30, and I got what else did I do? I had puppets made of the band and everything. Now that was a little trickier, but a magnificent maker of puppets. He's made them, or marionettes. He's made them for everybody from John Cleese to Kiss to you name it. I mean, movie actors, rock and rollers. So he did one of me, and then a few years ago, and then I had him do one for the band for that particular video. And it was a lot of fun doing that. And I enjoyed it.
Yeah, he did a good job on your puppet. It looks just like you.
There you go. And Frank played on. I'm trying to think what Frank played on. A brand new cardboard belt. I know he did just 3-4 notes.
Right.
He did that Jimi Hendrix on because he was known for a Jimi Hendrix influence in Mahogany Rush in the early days. But he did some serious solos in another song with the piano player on the song was. I think that was "Hate You to Death" to his part. Yeah, it was with Wayne blues boss, Kenny blues boss Wayne, who's an amazing American piano player in the Boogie Woogie Hall of Fame in the U.S. As a matter of fact, he's also on this record again. He's on both records.
Well, you hear him throughout the album, man. He is wonderful. He is incredible.
And he's great on this new album too. He does a track on there called Hip Hip.
Right.
And the keyboard player in my band, a fellow named Ross Billard, is like amazing. And I owe so much to him for his keyboard work on blues too that it's ridiculous. And you know, it's nice. It's real nice.
On I'll hate you till death do you part with Frank on there. I love the lyric. If I see you on the street, I'm going to have to run you down.
Yeah, that's right. You're like a mule with a broken leg.
That's
I'm
awesome.
Have to end your misery.
That is incredible.
Because you broke my heart, and I'll hate you till death do us part.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
great.
humor.
That is great.
Thank you.
And you did a remake of "Last Time I'll Ever Sing the Blues," right? Which is an April Wine song, right?
With Rick Derringer as my guest,
That is, Rick lives down the street from me here, and I'm in Sarasota, the Sarasota Bradenton line. He lives right around here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know where you are.
Yeah. And again,
well, if you ever see him, say hi. Last time I saw him was a few years ago on a blues cruise.
Right.
Say hi and tell him that you loved his playing on the Blues 1 and that Blues 2 is coming out, or is that whenever you see him.
Yeah, I did hear Hip Hip. That was a really good tune. Again, featuring Kenny Blues Boss Wayne on piano. Yeah.
It's about a young man traveling around. The first time he heard Buddy Guy, I said, "Man, that guy can play."
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, and then Kenny with the piano. That's right. That's a fun song. And the inspiration for that was an old country song called. I think it's called "Memories Are Made of This" or something. It was Hip Hip, the memories it brings to me.
Yeah.
And it's like an old song. When I say 50s, probably 50s, early 60s, it was a big American hit. Mm-hmm. And I always liked that hip hip. Hip hip. I stuck with me for decades and decades, obviously. And I incorporated, that's where that song, the inspiration for that song came from, the rhythm and the whole idea. So,
great track.
You like it, yeah.
Yeah, great track. You know what I found on YouTube? I was surprised. I found a song you did, Do You Know What I Mean? The Lee Michaels song.
April Wine did, yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. You guys did a great job with that tune, man. That was a good song back in the day, too, but no, I don't remember anybody covering it.
Yeah, actually it wasn't on April Wine. I think it was on my solo album.
Yeah, it was on your solo
album back in around 87.
Right.
And I did a duet with a young lady named, a real good singer too. Oh, I can't think of her name right now. You would know it. Maybe it'll pop back in my memory. I can't think of her right now. Great singer. So we did a duet on that song. Yeah, I always liked that song very, very much.
Me too. Fun to do. Yeah, me too. I always did like that song. I was surprised to hear you cover it, because I've never heard anybody do a cover of that tune.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I wanted to ask you something that happened a long time ago. I think it was in March of '77 when you were booked to play a charity concert at El Macambo Club in Toronto, and the co-headliner was billed as the Cockroaches, who turned out to be the Stones.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
It wasn't any kind of a charity thing. It was the Stones were recording a live album and recorded in small venues. The El Macambo was in Toronto. It's been there forever, and
right.
And so their manager got a hold of our management and said, like, we want to sell out the El Macambo for a few nights, but we don't want to say it's the Stones. We need a band that can sell it out. Would April Wine be willing to be that band? So we said, yeah. We said, yes, of course. And we advertised it just as April Wine playing in this bar. And with the Cockroaches being the Rolling Stones, who were billed as such, but were there, and it just tore the place down. Of course, word get out, I think, at some point. Certainly the second night, Margaret Trudeau was the first lady in Canada. She was there. Margaret Trudeau was there, and
right.
The place was rocking for a couple of nights. It was all recorded by a fellow named Eddie Kramer.
Yeah.
Most known for Jimi Hendrix.
Yep.
Records, of course, many others. He worked with Led Zeppelin, Kiss, and on and on and on and on. Who is now stationed up here? That was in New York City. I went down there and mixed that with him in '77. Our recording was called April Wine Live at the El Macambo, and the Stones. I don't know what they eventually called their product. But he's up in Toronto now, and the El Macambo has been reopened, and it's a great big kind of a venue that has a state-of-the-art recording studio, which is managed now by Eddie Kramer. When I had my book launch for Just Between You and Me in Toronto, he was there. He showed up. He was gracious, and he was there, and he's a terrific guy. Cool. But that was a special experience working with Stones, and then we played the club with them a few times, and then they took us down. We did a couple of big shows down the States, so they were very nice to us. But they had an incident before all of that in Montreal where part of their equipment was blown up.
Really?
By some kind of homemade bomb or something. Wow. And of course their management got a hold of us. April Wine was the biggest band around that area, and so we loaned them a bunch of gear to do their show in Montreal.
Right.
And the payback was what I was just telling you. So.
Mm-hmm. So, during that show, was there an opener of that concert, or was it who opened the concert and who finished it?
Oh, it was us and then the Stones.
Oh, okay. All right. Wow. That had to sell out. Oh, yeah.
That's when Keith was busted for the heroin and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
That's right. Another remarkable thing I've heard of is when you got your guitar back. The 62 Gibson?
Yeah, that happened Christmas Eve past. Yeah, that was remarkable. I had a 1962 Gibson Melody Maker that I'd customized that looked quite different from a standard Melody Maker, a double cutaway 62, and I used it. It was the first really good guitar I ever bought. It was 1968. I bought it down in a place called Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, and I had it with me, and I custom made it sound like no other. I don't even know what the pickups are in it because I won't even open it up. I just know it sounds awesome, and people say, well, what's in there? And I said, I don't know, and I ain't looking. I ain't touching nothing, honest. And then one day it was stolen, and many 30 years ago or so, and I thought it was destroyed in a trucking accident. That was the story. And one of the band members in April Wine, Brian Greenway, who's been with me since '77, he said he saw it in pieces. So that was it, man. I just had to mourn it and move on.
Right.
And decades go by. And and I posted pictures of that guitar because there were enough pictures of it around for people to see it in those years that I was using with April Wine. And then I got a call the day before Christmas. Some guys up in Canada, the West Coast, said, I know where your guitar Melody Maker is. And I said, no, you don't. I mean, I do too. It's destroyed. No, it's out here. I said, no, it isn't. He says, I'll get you a picture. And he sent me a picture. And it's so unique that I knew immediately. I said, that's it? He said, well, it's out in Vancouver, and I know who has it. Well, you could have knocked me over with a feather, as they say. And 4 days later, I got it back. And that was Christmas Eve that I found out it was still alive. And so part of the car, it went viral. I had television people in my house every single day. I mean, it was like viral. It's like friggin' everywhere. I heard from the guy at Gibson. I mean, everybody. And anyway, yeah, so it had a happy ending. I did get the guitar back, and remarkably, I could have plugged it in and walked on stage and done a concert with that guitar. It was not damaged in any way, shape, or form. It was
amazing.
In perfect shape.
That's amazing.
The only thing, there was a little sticker up in the corner that had dried and fallen off, and otherwise it was absolutely, it's the last time I had my hands on it. So it was kind of like Peter Frampton getting his guitar back. It was one of those things.
Now, did the guy offer to give it back to you, the guy that owned it, or?
No, I had to buy it back.
You had to buy it back. Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was stolen. You know, I could have called the police. If somebody steals your car, and then somebody says, I know where your car is, you don't have to buy your car back. The police go over, and they give they get your car, and you get it back. But, you know, at that point, I did not want anything to go wrong.
Right.
So when he said, oh, sure, I'll sell it to you for this, and I said, you got it. And I sent you that money so fast, I don't think the ink was dry on the check. All I wanted, it was back in my arms, and I don't care what it cost, so I bought it.
Wow.
But I never had anything more to do with that guy or any of them. I don't respect them. Anyway, so I got a song on blues too called "I Love My Guitar."
Oh, nice.
And when you hear it, you'll understand.
Nice.
It's about my melody maker.
That's a great story, man. That's a great story.
It is. It's a wonderful story. Yeah.
Especially around Christmas Eve. Christmas.
I know, that was remarkable. Going into the brand new, that's why it went so viral. Yeah. That's why it was all the television, all the coverage and everything else, was because it was one of those feel-good stories at the right moment. Christmas Eve, New Year's, you know. Yeah. It was like perfect for that. So, and that's just the way it was. So that's the way it went down.
I think you're in Santa Claus's good graces. That's what I think.
Yeah, I was a good boy. Yeah.
I know you got a guitar collection. And you also got a car collection. One thing I saw on your on the guitar collection, the red Goya. What is that all about?
Yeah.
I've never seen that before.
Well, the guitar Goya was made in Sweden. Okay. It's from the '60s, sometime or other. It's a plastic guitar. It really is a plastic red sparkle plastic body, and even the neck is plastic. They came in about 5 colors: gold, blue, red. And white, and they're worth a lot of money now if you can get your hands. I mean, they come up on eBay every now and then, and they sell for like $5,000 or something. You know, a guitar that cost $200 when it was new. But it was on the cover of one of our albums called Electric Jewels in 1973, and on the cover. And so it became kind of an iconic guitar after its time, and right now it's in a Hall of Fame display here in Halifax, Nova Scotia, next to Anne Murray and Hank Snow and some other real good company. There's my red sparkle guitar in its own special display case, all shiny and looking wonderful. So it's a great old guitar. Matter of fact, I've seen guitars on just like that. I saw a couple. One in particular I'm thinking of several years ago, and it had it in an open case with April Wine records all around it, and I had to contact the guy. I said, man, you're selling this as the original. You're selling this, but I want that removed. And it was gone the next day. You know, I said, I don't mind you selling your guitar. That's none of my business, but you're making it look exactly like, you know, my guitar. With the April Wine and your wording and everything else. So yeah, he was trying to sell it as the original April Wine Red Goya. That wasn't cool, but
yeah, that's crazy.
So it's got a good place now. It won't. Nobody can steal it.
Good.
It won't disappear.
You've got a lot of rock stars. They mass a fantastic collection of guitars. Hundreds, and then they start selling them off. Have you done that? Have you gotten a lot of them and then decided to sell some of them?
No, but I have to. I really have to start selling guitars, and for real obvious reasons, and one of them not so obvious. It's when you have too many, it's a lot of stuff to be dragging around all the time.
Yeah, that's
and you have a big collection of guitars or cars or whatever.
Right.
And I'm I've moved. I was brought up in Nova Scotia. April Wine is from Nova Scotia, and I've recently moved back to Nova Scotia, back with my friends that I've known since some of them since childhood. Jim Henman, original member of April Wine. We first met in 1963.
Wow.
we were Beatle babies together, if you will. And I'm back home, but I'm dragging all this stuff around.
Yeah.
And something has to give. It's the same with the cars. And the other reason is, there are some I will never, ever, ever let go. They'll stay in the estate, but there's other ones that, and I've heard this, it's a cliche, they deserve to be played.
Yeah, true.
And I ain't playing them.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm just not, and I never will. They spend their life in the dark.
Yeah.
And that's wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to start sending them out there into the world and make their way.
Well, if you put an ad out there, I'll take a look. I'm a guitar player. I could use a guitar.
Well, I don't know how I'm going to do it when the time comes. I mean, but we'll see. But yeah, I mean, I don't have the kind of car collection that like Eric Clapton has or Jeff Beck has.
Yeah.
And some others, but I have a really good collection, a really nice collection.
Yeah, David Gilmour just sold a bunch of them too. I mean,
yes, he's another one.
Yeah. What's your? I did see a few Vets in your car collection. I'm a big Vet fan as well. I had a '73 Vet that I actually gave to my son because my back was hurting me, and it was kind of hard to get into a Corvette, especially when you got back problems. But what's your favorite car that you have now?
Well, I think my favorite car that I have now is an Acura Nsx. That's probably my favorite.
Okay.
I only have one. I had a '62 Corvette. I don't have that. I haven't had that for some time, but I have a '66 Coupe.
Nice.
That is an absolutely beautiful car, and in perfect condition. It's a beautiful car, and I like to drive it. And I don't. There's not too many cars that are American cars that are that beautiful. They're really breathtaking.
Do you like the muscle cars?
And I'm a collector of Jaguars and other cars, and vintage Porsche and things like that. I really do. My daily driver, which I go to, I have to actually play golf, and I don't have any time really. This is my second time this entire year, and it probably could well be my last time. And and I went to the golf course in my 1987 Chrysler Fifth Avenue.
Huh.
With the big blue velour seats, they're like furniture.
Yeah.
And I like the old I like those old cars that make driving slow fun, big boats.
Yep.
But no, I do like cars very, very much, but I have to let some of them go because again, I'm just dragging this baggage all around.
I know. Do you have an XKE?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
That was always my favorite car. I love that.
Yeah, they are beautiful. Yeah, I love them. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, nobody will have as many cars as Jay Leno. I'm telling you, that guy.
No.
Myles,
no, he's got a lot. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Myles. Here's a question I ask everybody. I get some interesting answers. If you had a Field of Dreams wish, like the movie, to perform, collaborate with anyone from the past or present, who would that be?
Wow, how long does it take for people to answer that question?
It takes them a few, maybe a minute or so.
Yeah, I don't know, to collaborate with,
or just play with, sit, whatever, jam with.
I don't know. There's a long list. I mean, if you could be my age is an influence here, obviously. There are only two Beatles left.
Right.
It would be nice to do a little work with either one of them. For example, I've worked with the Stones several times. That was awesome. There's a lot. There's just so many. I mean, if you could bring them back.
Yeah, if you can bring them back.
It'd be fun to do something with Elvis. I'd like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be cool. Imagine jamming hanging out. We're doing anything with Jimmy Page. I mean, it goes on and on. That wish list is. It's no one person, but boy, it's an interesting question. Yeah.
Yeah, I asked Robin Trower, and I says, he said James Brown. I said, well, what about Hendrix? He said, I'd be afraid to play with Hendrix.
Yeah, Hendrix is another one. Yeah. Well, James Brown, that's an interesting answer there. Yeah,
Isn't it?
I wouldn't have thought of him. He wouldn't be on my list, but who doesn't like James Brown, especially those?
Oh yeah.
Those formative years that he had. Yeah.
Oh yeah. The last interview I had, let's see, I think it was Tony Brock, with the Babies, who also played with Rod Stewart. I think he said he wanted to play with Zeppelin and be that John Bonham.
Well, that's why I mentioned Jimmy Page, and Zeppelin, of course, if they were all alive and well, would be pretty incredible, And they're country people I'd like to play with, I mean, I grew up on country. I mean, early, even when we do the Just Between You and Me live, the acoustic, April Wine and Conversation, all that kind of stuff acoustically. I talk about these early country stuff. You get Jimmy Rogers, T for Texas, T for Tennessee, and I never felt more like singing the blues and all those early country folky blues songs, and it'd be nice to play with a few of those people that are no longer with us too.
I'm good friends with Marty Robbins' daughter. Remember Marty Robbins?
Oh my goodness, Marty Robbins, yeah. White Sports Goat, Pink Carnation, El Paso, on and on. He's one of my favorites, absolutely,
Yeah, we're the same age. She's really cool, Janet. She's awesome.
It's too bad he died so young. He seemed to really enjoy life, and such a voice that he made singing seem so effortless.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I like the old country guys myself. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I don't really have much use for the new country. It does nothing for me at all. They're more rock and roll than most rock and roll bands. They got Marshalls and Les Pauls and leather pants, and they're running around, and they're supposed to be country, and I don't get that. Yeah. I go all the way back to Marty Robbins and Ernest Tubb, and Canada's own Hank Snow.
Hank Snow, yeah.
There weren't too many country guys at any time anywhere that were bigger than Hank Snow, man.
Right.
You read about Hank Snow and just take a look at the #1 hits he had. Yeah. And it's astounding, man, from a guy from a little part of Nova Scotia that went down to Nashville and just took over the country world for quite a while. It's something else. I'm very proud of him, actually.
He was incredible. Yeah. Well, Canada's got a lot of Hall of Famers, not only in music, but in comedy, man. All the guys from Second City, and John Candy, and all those guys. I love all those guys. They're incredible.
Yeah, Jim Carrey, and it goes on and on. There's so many Canadian comics out there, and actors, and what's the difference between here and there? I mean, there is a big difference, but we're just a border. It's all the same influence. We all watched, I date myself every time I open my mouth, but we all watched Elvis. We all watched Ed Sullivan. We saw the Beatles. We saw Elvis Presley and Ed Sullivan. We grew up with decades and decades of the same stuff.
Yes, we did.
Reading the same books, hearing the same music, and watching the same TV shows, and influenced by the same movies. Whether it was Marlon Brando or if it was John Steiger, it doesn't matter. We were, so of course, they're great Canadians, great Americans. We're all brothers and sisters, right? At the end of the day, so.
I got you. Are you a hockey fan?
Not anymore, no. I used to when I played hockey. I don't like the fact that they just grab the puck, throw it up the end, and chase it. When they get it, they throw it back down, they chase. More like ping pong than hockey. But I did love hockey, and I knew a lot of the great players, Shuddy and Guy Lafleur, Wayne Gretzky. Right. I knew all those guys, and some of them still pop up at April Wine shows. So I remember the way it was.
Yeah.
When you got the puck and they worked that puck and they wanted that puck and they wanted to score, and they didn't care about paychecks or anything else. Yeah. People like Guy Lafleur with a cigarette in his hand hanging out of his lip, no helmet, the long hair flying. Yeah. He just had a bypass surgery about a week or two ago. He came out of it just fine. But no, Montreal was a dynasty, weren't they? They dominated hockey for quite a while, and that's the golden period of hockey as far as I'm concerned. Great American teams. There was a lot fewer teams, fewer games. Now there are so many, and there's so many games, so many playoffs. It's just like, I like to, see, here's an old guy talking about when things were good. But I guess my father had similar things to say about his formative years. But anyway, it's the way it is.
You turned into your dad.
I have turned into my father. We all do.
There you go. I remember growing up as a kid, the two best hockey teams, and all the games. I remember having one of those hockey table games, with the sticks they slide up and down.
Oh yeah, I love them.
It was always
those things, yeah.
It was always Montreal against Toronto. Because those were the two teams.
Yeah,
that was it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. I like that table hockey stuff. We were doing Harder, Faster album up at in Morin Heights out of the studio. We got into that so much. I mean, we became obsessed. We had a trophy, and we had tournaments and teams. And my team was called the Lobsters.
Oh, cool!
Because I'm from Nova Scotia, and I used to cut the fingers off the ends of rubber dish gloves,
Yeah.
and so I could get a really tight grip on my whatever you call those things that you control the players with and everything. I mean, we took it seriously. You'd sit there for hours alone just practicing, throwing it, passing the puck around.
Right,
I mean,
right.
really, they have tournaments.
Yeah.
You can get people become very, very, very good at that game. Although most people, it's just a bit of a pastime. But
with all the technology they have today, they look at that as like, I mean, I still enjoy Pong.
Drawing in the dirt with a stick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I used to love those games, and I love hockey. I really do. I enjoy hockey.
Yeah, well, good for you. It's a great sport. Yeah.
Well,
so how are we doing on time?
We're wrapping up. I just want to thank you so much for being on the show today, for all the incredible music you've given us, and continue to bring one of your bands. Come to Florida, please.
I would love to. It's funny, we tour around by Florida, and I know they play Florida, and we have so many musical friends in Florida and fans, and we never get to play Florida.
You never do.
What's that about? I have no idea. That's the way it is.
I can recommend some good venues like on.
It's not about that. It's not the venues. It's the buyers. You need somebody that says, "Okay, I'm going to put down my money because I think April 1 will do well here."
I know you guys will.
I don't know. We don't have a great. We do have representation down there,
right?
But I don't know how well we're represented in the Florida area.
Okay.
I've often asked, like, why are we in Florida?
Yeah.
But we don't play down there much. We play in the Midwest, and like I said, we were out in Chicago the other day. And there's certain areas that are good for April 1, Texas, and various places, and others not so much. I don't know. One of those things.
Well, come on, Myles. It's warm down here, and you got the beach. Come on.
I would love to do that. Yeah, I don't know about the beach, but I'd love to do that.
Yeah. Myles, thank you so much, man, for being on the show today. I appreciate it. We're looking forward to the new album coming out very, very soon, October 25th. And you can get that, I guess, on either your website or Amazon.com.
Oh, you should be able to get that pretty much everywhere. Yeah, It's called Myles Goodwyn and Friends of the Blues 2. Friends of the Blues 2.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Okay, you take care, Ray. All the best, my friend.
You too. Take care.
Okay, brother.
All righty. Bye-bye. Okay, you can purchase Myles Goodwyn and Friends of the Blues, the first album, number 1, with many of his friends, including Frank Marino from Mahogany Rush. Rick Derringer's on there, and many more. That one's available at Amazon.com, and Myles Goodwyn and Friends of the Blues 2, available October 25th. That will also be available at Amazon.com. Also purchase the memoir by Myles Goodwyn entitled Just Between You and Me. Goodwyn shares the story of his upbringing, first at home in rural New Brunswick, and then in the music business as the lead singer of one of Canada's most popular bands ever, April Wine. Also available at Amazon.com. For more information about Myles Goodwyn and April Wine, visit www.milesgoodwyn.com and www.facebook.com/MylesF.Goodwyn. Also, www.aprilwine.ca or www.facebook.com/AprilWineOfficial. Very special thanks to Mark Bucci Media for arranging this interview with Myles Goodwyn, and of course, the dynamic duo of Doug and Don Newsom of BBS Radio for making the magic happen for each and every broadcast of Interviewing the Legends. If you have comments or suggestions for the show, contact me at interviewingthelegends@gmail.com. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Interviewing the Legends with Ray Shasho, for the very latest interviews. It is real news, people. Don't forget to purchase a copy of my book entitled Check the G's, The True Story of an Eclectic American Family and Their Wacky Family Business. Available now at Amazon.com. You will live it. And coming soon, the Rock Star Chronicles, Series 1. Be on the lookout for that. I'll let you know, give you some more details as it gets published. Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to Interviewing the Legends. Brought to you by the Publicity Works Agency. Call 941-877-1552 or visit us at publicityworksagency.com, specializing in author and music artist publicity plans. We shine when we make you shine. Tune in to Interviewing the Legends every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Time on PBS Radio, Station 1.